5 years ago, and have been in Lake Oswego ever since. And we've got all the tools we need to be successful. So we're salespeople, and what we do every day is we make sales. So that's probably the number one thing that we can stay focused on. Some of the material that you're going to get throughout the next couple weeks is productivity items, things that to keep you focused on your daily activities. That's the most important thing to be successful in real estate. But thanks for having me today. This is Friday, no shirt or no coat day. So most of you are used to seeing me in a coat. So, yeah. So really glad to be here. I should probably grab a packet so I know where we're at, right? So the first part, what we're going to do before we get into really how to do a CMA correctly, is we're going to talk about database and sphere of influence growth and management and how to create it. Our kind of the rules is I'll say something, Gary will give me the signal, why did you say that, and then jump in and correct me, and or he will just ad-lib whenever he wants to, because he brings a lot of experience. About 2 more years or 3 more?
3 more than you, but that's it.
3 more. But my number is still before his. We talked about that.
That's right.
Real Estate Commission lost everybody's licenses, as we talked about. But
Listening to somebody who has some experience and has done it for years should help a lot. So in this area, Dave is the expert. There's no question about that. But I think, like you mentioned the other day, that you don't use those hardcover book presentation books, and I think they're a great idea. Dave doesn't think as much about that idea, so it may be for different purposes, but they're different opinions. So,
well, let me clarify that though, because I do use it when I'm going in to list a home and I'm being interviewed, and there's other agents involved,
okay,
where it's not somebody like out of my sphere of influence, and I've sold them 5 houses over the years. I still do the CMA, but I don't go in with a fancy cover or anything, because then they're going to go, what's up with that? What's the presentation? We always want to be professional, no matter what. But I do use the hardcovers, and I do use those brochures. My presentation is going to be simpler than yours, because as you're starting out, you're trying to use more company information, and we've talked about that, to kind of help show how proficient and competent you are. As you grow in your business and you expand your business and you start doing business with more of the same people, at that point in time, and they're calling you up after 3 or 4 years, now you're selling another house, you don't have to quite go in with the 100-page presentation anymore, right? So,
right.
But and what Gary said is exactly right. I'm a product of like 4 super, mega agents, where I've studied them throughout the last 22 years. A lot of stuff that Ryan Buffini does, I go, that's just not me, but I take several of those things and incorporate them into my business, because there's several good ideas that he has. Same thing with Mike Ferry, same thing with Bill Ayotte, same thing with Craig Proctor. Those guys have all been top North American producers. And so I like to take the best of some of those and then because each of us are unique, right? And we all have our own gifts, different gifts and talents. There's some things that we want to try to incorporate in our business, especially the daily activities, because I've found there's like 3 things to really developing your sphere of influence and business and your contacts. And it's all about the phone, and it's all about being personal and connecting with people and writing notes, staying in contact with them, doing what we talked about on Wednesday, doing a prospecting profile, or however you want to do it, where they get a weekly email, perhaps of their neighborhood activity, with your smiling face on it. Believe me, it works. And every one of those guys will say, yeah, it does work. So I'm going to start out. I'd like you to turn to page 2, and I want you to just start thinking about the year 2017 and where your business is going to come from. And these are a few ideas of where your business is going to come from. And I wanted to talk about a few of these sources right now because some of them could be an immediate, rocket fuel into your business real quick. Obviously, past clients. Those of you that are new don't have a lot of past clients. Some that are just starting out might have people that they know within their sphere of influence, and that's just friends and family and business contacts from what you were doing before. Perhaps they were college, perhaps they were high school. I know Doug works with stays in contact with a lot of our fraternity brothers. My only image of them was absolutely crazy stuff, so I don't stay in touch with them as much. No. But for instance, I like to use my son-in-law as an example. He's been in the business 2 years, and he moved up here from LA and didn't know a soul. But my daughter, his wife, knew a lot of people because she went to high school in Lake Oswego. And so he started writing down a lot of her contacts and calling them and just introducing himself as Kelsey's husband, and he's moving, and now he's in the real estate business. And then, of course, I had some leads coming in every day from different sources. And so between those two things, all of a sudden he started selling real estate. And then he joined a soccer league. And in that indoor soccer league, he got to meet a lot of different people. And all of a sudden, he, in less than a year, he's throwing a party over in Beaverton. I'm trying to remember the place, but it's a kind of like a party place, and it's got all sorts of games and videos and bowling and all sorts of stuff. And there's like 25 of every one of his clients from his first year came to that. And so I helped him work that night and help ask for business, in a low, profile kind of way. But out of that came a lot of more business and a lot more referrals. So, networking is what we do. Networking, calling clients. But let's talk about a few of these. So your sphere of influence, who do you know? What's your background? If it's in a particular field, you probably know a lot of different people, but that's one source of business. And so when you do your 2017 business plan, just over here, you're going to be writing down the areas that you want to go after to try to develop your database. Online lead generation is a great potential where business can come from. Who does any online lead stuff right now? Anybody? We know Dustin does. Liz, what are you using?
Right now, I'm using some software that works with expireds and FSBOs. Mm-hmm. But I've done Zillow, I've done Realtor.com, I've done Kazoo, I've done something else I can't remember the name of. And I didn't like
What makes those work or what doesn't make them work?
I hated Zillow and Realtor.com. I thought they were very expensive, and I was throwing out about $600 a month, mm-hmm. which was way too much for my budget. And I probably got 2 leads out of Zillow for 1 year, and I got 1 lead from Realtor.com all year. I get a lot from Kazoo. They're pretty good. They're about $150 a month. Get a lot from them. A lot of their leads, though, were people couldn't quite qualify. Mm-hmm. A lot of leads there, but very motivated sellers, kind of for the same reason.
Awesome.
Yeah. With this market, it's tough because they don't want to go that whole song. But,
did you have sellers out of there too, or just buyers?
I got a couple sellers, mostly buyers. And another thing is I market myself online, and I actually get referrals out of Google from my own efforts sometimes, about 2 a year.
You do any of your own pay-per-click?
I'll do Facebook ads.
Okay.
I'll do Facebook boosts, and I go in and I optimize my own websites and stuff like that because I know how to do that stuff.
Perfect. Yeah. Great. Anybody else?
The commercial sites that I use all have a tracking mechanism that anybody that is looking at my listings, it'll it'll leave, a lot of times it doesn't have phone numbers, but it might have an email address, or sometimes it has both, or sometimes it doesn't have anything, but I get about 32 leads a week, and I follow up with those either via email and phone call, whatever it takes. And a lot of times what they're doing is they're looking like, you know, I have a restaurant that's got a business. It's the building and the business out in Newburgh, and you know they're looking for a business, or they're looking for an investment, or whatever the case may be. So you know, I start that communication, and a lot of them, I mean, they're from all over the country. I mean, New York, Colorado, Tennessee. I mean, it's all over the place.
There's a new program starting out really soon that's actually going to mirror Zillow Residential. It's going to be like commercial.
Oh, about time.
So you basically just type in the address, and then boom, they kind of do their thing from there. So that's going to be coming
That'll
out.
be exciting.
Because I know
So
the guy.
we are.
Okay.
I just heard it yesterday. I'll get that for you, Doug. Expired listings, Liz mentioned that. Can be a great source of business. That's really my first source of business when I started back into it full-time 22 years ago. I sat next to a guy named John McCorkindale, and he and Renee Flama were in the office right next to me, and I could hear them all from about 4 till 6 o'clock. They would call at least 50 people and book listings for the next night or next day, appointments. And those are very frustrated sellers ready to sell. They're pretty good leads, and there's a lot of different programs out there that you can tap into the expired market. You got to be careful who you're calling and make sure they're not on the do not call list and all that stuff, but there's programs that delineate that for you. And you just put your scripts right in front of you and you hammer through those, and within a couple months I was rocking and rolling. So same on for sale by owners, a little tougher sale. But what did we talk about on Wednesday? They could maybe generate 4 to 5% of the market. Is represented by FSBOs. We generate 90 to 95% of the business real estate closings in the Portland metro area. So, but they can still be a great source of business. We could do a whole class on that, but we won't do it here. Just listed and just solds is another great source of business. I'm focusing on just solds because they're 40% more effective than according to Corfact. So 40% more effective for what you're mailing to a neighborhood, that's huge. That's quite a bit of difference. Attorneys. I got a referral the other day from an attorney. My client's husband passed away a few months ago. And she has 3 acres, gonna be 14 lots, and that's a pretty good referral. So attorneys can be a great source of information, a great source of clients.
Are they legally allowed to give out those names?
Yeah, if they're looking for somebody that's in trouble or needs some help and they need a realtor, like right away.
Oh, the attorney themselves or
Yeah.
the clients?
Well, the attorney that's representing the client. I mean, they give referrals to other attorneys and they give referrals to agents, to realtors.
The kind of thing that happens is an attorney will represent an estate, and the estate wants to sell a house that was left by grandma. Well, the attorney can't do that himself. He's got to refer that out to somebody, so he'll refer that to a realtor.
Yeah, if he wants to get the highest and best price for his client, he'll refer it out to a realtor, as opposed to handling it himself, trying to sell it himself. Rentals that you may own, rentals that your clients may own, CPAs. I have had multiple referrals from my CPA over the last 15 years. And I hadn't had one referral until I started using them. And I walked in and I said, who do you use? I mean, who's your realtor? Do you have one? And he goes, yeah, I do about 300 returns for realtors every year. And I went, well, are you working with a professional one and referring out your clients? And He goes, well, I kind of refer a few of them out, but I don't know if I would call them professional or not, but they've been giving me their business for a number of years. I go, well, I'm professional, I'd love your business. I mean, that's exactly how the conversation went, and I've had a ton of business from him, just asking him for business. So everybody's gonna file a tax return, whether you do it yourself. It's a great, you know, it might be worth the $300 or $400 to partner with a good CPA because they know a lot of people. Believe it or not, ex-realtors that have just left the business or retired. One of our agents in our office has a former RE/MAX Equity Group agent who retired, but they kept their license active. He put it into the CMA referral group, and all these people keep coming back to this couple, and they refer everything to him from their book of business, and he pays them 25% every time, and he's always working a lot of their business. So ex-realtors.
I have a question
Yes.
regarding that.
Mhm.
It depends on how they hang their license as to whether or not you can pay them a referral fee?
Well, we have two different companies. One is CMA, and then the other one is the CMA referral group. So Gary, you want to talk about that?
Yeah, first of all, you have to have an active license. You cannot have an inactive license and receive a referral.
Correct. Yeah.
So if you have an active license with a referral company, like the CMA referral group, your license hangs there, but your contract with CMA says you can't make any sales, you can't do, the only thing you can do is refer stuff out and collect money for it. So it's a great program. You know, when Dave retires, you know, again, think about that. You're making 25% doing nothing of what the guy that's making the 75% who's doing everything. That's not a bad deal. So, yeah,
It's a phenomenal deal. One of my agents that I work a lot with, and some of you may have heard, she does a ton in the Salem area. Her name's Amy McLeod. She's with Keller Williams. Amy sends me every one of her Portland referrals, whether it's a listing or a buyer. Every one. And she collects, we have kind of a volume deal, a little bit lower percentage, but everything I send to her, she gets down there. Everything she has coming up this way or moving out from here, I get. Agent to agent referrals can be big. Where's one of the best sources to go and start getting a lot of inbound referrals from? National Association of Realtors. Right, you can go to the yearly convention, open up a booth for hardly any money, and network with agents and pass your card out to probably 300, 400, 500 agents across the country. Network for about 3 days, see some great seminars, and huge opportunity for inbound and outbound referrals.
Yeah, the only problem with that though is they hold those conventions in some crappy places, you know, like Honolulu and Florida and Vegas.
I know.
So you get a trip that you can write off and get business from it. It's
There you
tough,
go. Now you're
but
talking.
somebody's got to do it.
Where's it this year?
Pardon?
Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Sweet.
I think about it, it's
It's
like
tough.
2 years, like normally it's like 2 out of the 3 years is Vegas.
Yeah.
And every once in a while they do
San
Florida.
Diego's
San
big.
Diego's big, yeah.
I'll hold out for Hawaii.
Yeah.
I got I went down to California for my 40th anniversary last week, and I had $116 round trip to LA.
Wow.
That's not bad.
Wow.
You can get to those conventions cheap. The fee to get into the convention is not much, and the booth is not much. You don't even need a booth. You can actually just walk around and hang your cards out. Just talk to people, you know. You'll meet a lot. There's always a networking function, normally 3 times a day. So just a tremendous opportunity.
It's interesting. A lot of it's attitude, I think. The Oregon Association of Realtors has always had their state meetings in Oregon, usually at some place like Sun River. In fact, they're on this week there. And but a few years ago, they did one in conjunction with the Vancouver, British Columbia Association of Realtors, the British Columbia Association of Realtors, and they did it in Vancouver, British Columbia. We did a joint kind of thing. Oregon realtors were ticked, got to spend all that money and go there. I'll tell you, there was very, very low turnout of people from Oregon, but those people made a fortune out of it. They made a lot of great connections there of people who were moving to the Portland area. I mean, think about it. You know, it was great. And besides, it was a great place to be, but, yeah.
That's an awesome idea.
Yeah, absolutely, unbelievable fun, and just great opportunities.
Yeah.
Great opportunity. But think about that. You can, you know, as you decide what's my exit strategy for the business someday, you know, you can just give your business as you exit out to all of your, to any of your contacts actually there and collect a 25-30% fee. Client referrals, obviously a huge one. That's where I'm going to bring in a lot of business for 2017. You know, relocation companies out there, especially Intel, Nike, they have a lot. They have relocation departments, and they, you know, once you get in, you can just see your business really grow.
How do you get into those?
Well, you know, just call their HR and figure out who the relocation company is. One of the biggest ones is Cardis. They do, you know, a ton. I just sold I got a referral on a USAA insurance guy in Cardis that was a $1.3 million sale. It's a pretty good little deal.
Compass is a good one too. I used
Compass,
used to be a relocation specialist years ago, and Compass, they'll even give you rentals, and what they do is they call you and say they got a client coming in to town looking for a rental. We'll pay you, you know, $500 a day. You treat them to lunch, you take them out for 4 hours, show them rentals. It's a good deal, and they also give you, you know, people that want to sell their houses because they're relocating with the company and they need a house where they're going, so you get them a referral on the other side of it too. It's a great deal. But Compass is a good one too. And if you haven't been certified as a relocation specialist, you should, because you'll get a lot of incoming leads. I used to get 10, 15 a year.
Yeah, and I'm not even certified and or have that designation, but on my profile with National Association of Realtors, I have relocation as one of my keywords.
Yeah.
You know, I get calls.
Yeah.
I get calls
you
for
get a
handling
lot.
business. Audra?
Can you get the relocation certification at NAR conference?
I got mine through the companies. Each company has their own.
Yeah, I think OAR. You can't.
Yeah, I don't know
about
I know
NAR.
the National Association of Realtors has one, and it's either live, or you may have to travel somewhere, or you may be online now. So I would just go into the
Okay.
realtor.org website and just check under education.
I'm going to talk about 3 more sources real quick. There's a whole bunch of them here. What I'm trying to do is I just want you to think about some of these things and go, wow, that's a big source of, what would be the number one source of referrals that you could get from somebody? What would be that source? Number one, who does the most referring out?
People you sold to.
Clients.
That's as you get down the road.
Oh.
But just if you're just, let's say you're in the business less than 5 years.
There's
Family and friends.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Lenders.
What?
Lenders.
Lenders. That's a good one though. That's not the number one, but a lender, forming a partnership with a lender and sitting down with them and going, here's my expectation. My expectation is I'd like for you to participate with me in my Zillow advertising, because legally they can, as long as Zillow bills them direct, they can pay up to 50% of your fee from Zillow for advertising. But the number one thing is, how much business can I expect? How many referrals can I expect from you next year? Because if I'm going to give you most of my clients, I want something in return.
Yeah.
Well, legally, I don't know, David, we can really do that. Okay, great. I'm going to go, oh, well, maybe we can. So, you know, forming partnerships with a couple really good lenders. But the number one source, write this down under other at the very bottom, and it will surprise you, but it's insurance agents. Think about an insurance agent with State Farm, Farmers, Allstate, whatever, they have typically 10 to 20,000 people on their mailing list. Why not go partner with the best in town, or one of those guys, or two of those guys or gals, and go, I have something of value I can bring to you. I can bring you my database, my mailing list of people. I promise on every house I sell, I'm going to give them your name for a homeowner's insurance policy. And in return, if you can, when you hear about people thinking about moving, you know, if you could do me a favor, I was supposed to play golf with my insurance agent on Tuesday, but I got an email last night that the tournament is actually Monday. And so I'm already booked for Monday. I've got appointments and I can't change them, and he gave me the wrong date. So I called him last night and I go, I am so sorry, but I got to back out of that golf tournament. You told me it was Tuesday, it's really Monday. And I felt like terrible, because I'm thinking to myself, I can't lose his source of business, because he's a huge producer and gives me a whole bunch of leads. I can't even tell you how many leads I've had in the last several years. So I was a little, but I'm good. I made sure we were good. So he said he can get somebody, but that's a great source. Another fun source. Yeah, Audra?
Are we asking the agents for their mailing list?
I've done that with them. I've actually exchanged mailing lists, and I've given him an item of value, like a newsletter, and some statistics from market action, so that he can use that with his clients.
They don't ask for your mailing list?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Yeah, and I've exchanged that. So he's got mine and I've got his. I haven't done that for a couple years, but he, you know, I just thought I'm top of mind with him when it comes to real estate. So, you know, he had a client actually who just got his property pulled into urban growth about 2 years ago. He's got 40 acres just outside Beaverton, and it's probably worth about $500,000 a developable acre. So put that number together. So I'm going to get that referral. Well, I've actually already been talking to him. So, okay, so another fun thing is you're traveling to Seattle, you're traveling to Eugene, and you just stop in at Remax down there, or Summa down there, or whatever, to other offices that may be having referrals. Every other year I go to Kauai. I always stop in there. I call on 3 or 4 brokers. I don't write that trip off. I might write like 5% of it off, but to write the whole thing off, your purpose has to be going there. So, but I will take several cards with me and just hit some agents' offices. Down in LA, there's a ton of people moving north. The Bay Area is #1 relocation inbound, and Seattle is #2, and then LA would be #3. And so if I'm down in LA, in South Beach, I'll go in and hit South Bay Realtors. I've made calls on several other brokers, just seeing what they're doing, and hey, here's my card. If you ever have a referral coming to Portland, I would love that opportunity to serve them. Yes?
Do you ever just like stop in there if you see like a brokerage, you just walk in
All
there
the time.
your cards? Okay.
All the time. Going to dinner, you know, there's 1-2 blocks away from Simsey's. I'll walk in and just hand them my card. Hey Dave, how you doing? Good to see you again. I just wanted to give you some more cards. You know anybody moving to Portland? It's great, and it's a big source. So you would not think of it, but
Yeah, that's, you know, the other thing you mentioned when you're out to dinner, you should not go to a restaurant or a Starbucks without giving the person your card. And if you're at a sit-down dinner kind of thing, even Sherry's or something, and you legitimately get good service, give them your card, but right on the back of it. Thanks a lot for the great service. I appreciate it, and just put it on the back of your card and leave it there. You'd be surprised. Yeah, Audra.
I've been driving for Lyft to compensate my income because it's so much fun.
yeah.
So I just walked out of Providence and I make more money doing Lyft on my own time, right?
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
So I actually, last July, I got a client. I was dropping them and their friends off at the Rose Garden, and they were here visiting, and you know, so.
Fantastic.
So I keep cards in my car.
Well, let me
tell that story, Dave, real quick. So, Boris, some people probably already heard this, but absolute true story. I used to work in, I've almost always worked out in the Tannisbourne, Hillsborough area, but I lived in West Lynn for many, many years doing that. So I drove through Lake Oswego up A Street almost every day on the way to work. And there was a gas station there, it's still there, I don't even know what it is now, but at the time I was doing this, it was a Shell station. And I pull in there once, twice a week and get gas. And there was an old guy that came out. I was in my 30s, he was probably in his 60s. And he had the little, in those days he had a little brown uniform, the big Shell and the little hat and stuff, and come out and they check your oil and all that stuff. And he'd do all this stuff, and I used him as a motivator. I was thinking, when I'm 60 or 70 years old, I sure as hell don't want to be working at a gas station, right? And I talked to the guy, got to know him by name, and I thought I knew him pretty well, and he knew my name. We never talked about real estate though, because for sure there's nobody that works in a gas station can afford a house, right? And one day, after probably 5 years of this, I pulled in and he said, well, I finished filling up my car. He said, well, Gary, I probably won't see you for a while, if ever again. I said, gee, how come, Bill? He says, well, I sold the stations. That's an S on the end of it.
I love it.
Wow.
He not only worked there, he owned the damn thing and 3 or 4 others.
Oh, that's
And he sold them all, bought a chain of muffler shops. And as I found out later when I researched his name, he lived in about an $800,000 house up in Oregon City. Dummy here, never mentioned I was in real estate, ever. Don't make that mistake. A waitress in a restaurant.
the other agent goes, quick question, do you own a home? And the guy goes, well, no. He goes, can I show you some homes? Are you in the market to buy? And now I'm just standing there kind of listening to this. It's my listing, right? And the mold guy goes, well, come to think of it, my wife and I have been thinking about it for 2 years. And he goes, I'll give you a call Monday. Let's get you pre-approved and let's go out and buy a house. And I'm like watching this, and I'm not offended. I'm like, this is really cool. He's meeting the mold inspector. Now he's only sold like 2 houses. So this isn't, this could be his 3rd house he's gonna sell, right? So the next, like an hour and a half later, the septic guy comes. And he does this. The septic guy is bending down, he's looking in the baffle, he lifts the baffle, looking in the tank, and actually the inlet and outlet were opposite, they were supposed to be, so we had a real problem with that. Guy stands up and he goes, let's see, what was his name? Marty. Marty, do you own a home? And Marty goes, I don't. About 5 years ago, I lost my house during the 2008 crash. And so we had to sell it short. And he goes, well, how long has it been? He goes, it's been about 5 years. He goes, did you file bankruptcy? He goes, well, no. And would you like to buy a home? Well, yeah, could I? And he goes, well, sure you can. Here's my card. Let me call you on Monday. And let's go, and I'm just sitting here watching this. And so I thought, okay, this is a good experiment, right? I'm gonna start doing that. So actually he did that with 3 inspectors, 3 different ones, also the radon guy. So he literally walked away with 3 names, phone numbers, and one of them, the Cascade radon inspector, actually had a home